Hey, good afternoon, Patriots. It's glad to be back. We been working on some things in the office, and hopefully you guys will be able to see me and hear me. I've got some information that I'm going to be sharing this afternoon, and then at the very end, I'm going to talk a little bit about tonight, which is huge with what's happening this evening. But I'm going to wait a couple minutes to see if anybody comes on and if you guys can see and hear me. Because that's always the biggest challenge when it comes to Facebook. Facebook does not like any of my messages to come out there. Hey there, Ronnie. Good always to see you, brother. So I guess what I'm going to do to start off today is to let you know that we are now fully in place, and we set up our studio. Our everything is pretty much back to the way we had it set up when we were at the other location. So I feel pretty good about that. In the beginning, I had a lot of people asking me when we were going to do a broadcast, and I had some challenges to get it out there because nothing was really set up correctly. But we've been working on it over the last week, and I give all the credit to my wife, Antoinette. She's the one that really was able to get it set up correctly. So you can be looking for me to do at least one, if not two broadcasts every single day going forward. A lot's happening, and you guys are the Patriots, should know, but I'm finding out more and more of the Patriots out there, as I keep telling you guys, you're still watching stuff that will tend to make you doubt. And the reason why I know that you're still doubting is the comments that I get. The comments I get like, John, is this really true? Is this really going to happen? The most famous, of course, is that I'll believe it when I see it, and that's really not the way that our Creator created this planet. You have to see things first, and we are the only species that God created that has an imagination. I think a lot of people take that for granted, and they don't even realize, wow, we could do something that no other species that was created can do. Like, for instance, I love dogs. Okay, you can ask anybody that knows me. I love dogs. We had a dog for about 4 or 5. Well, I had the dog for about 6 years. And when Antoinette and I first got together, we had just a pug. I love pugs. And unfortunately, he died in 2016. And so I haven't had my pug since 16, and I'm looking to get another one here probably in the next year or so. But one day, it was back in 2007 or 16, I think it was. Yeah, it was 16. And I thought about something, the fact that, when you're in the room with a dog, let's use dogs because I'm using that as an example here. When you're in the room with a dog and the dog is looking around and the dog looks at you, well, guess what? The dog sees you, but they don't have any other ability to see anything else. They can't create other pictures, and they're basically, what they see is what they get. So think about what I just said. What they see is what they get. But see, that's not how it is for us, if you really understand, that is. Because you can actually create the vision, you can create the outcome that you want. And I know there's people that are going to watch this and go, come on, John, what have you been smoking, right? But that's because you live too much in the here and the now. And I know my religious people have a hard time with this. But I want to tell you that everything that quantum physics talks about, God created that. Where did he create it? Well, he created it in many aspects throughout the Bible. He says to call forth those things that be not as though they were. He talks about the fact that, without a vision, you're going to perish, right? So what do you think that really means? But see, a lot of religious people, they have to have it like exact wording, and they have to have it to where it 100% matches up in the right words. Just like what I've shared, probably 6 months ago, when I had a great conversation with a very nice lady who told me, she's been a Christian for like 30 years, right? And so she said, well, I don't really like because I used to do a show on Tuesday nights. I used to do it every Tuesday night. I did it for about 4 or 5 years. And I talked a lot about quantum physics, and I talked about the law of attraction, and I talked about all that kind of stuff. Well, if you talk to that kind of stuff to religious people, they're going to shut you off, and they're not going to want anything to do with you, really, because they think that you're out there, or you're like living in another dimension of belief, right? And in reality, I think I am living in another dimension of belief, but it's the belief that I believe that God gave us, right? Because he says to call forth, he says to see not as it is, but as you want it to be and as you believe. So when people are looking at the Trump situation, you knew I was going to go there sooner or later, right? When people are looking at the Trump situation and they see the here and the now, and especially with all the evil that's going on within our world, they're like, you know what? It's just not going to work. Well, those words, I don't repeat those words, because you're hung by your words. Life and death for you are really in here, because when you speak that's what you're going to get back. Just like when people tell me, John, I could never do what you do. And I always ask them, I said, so when you say you couldn't do what I do, what do you mean by that? And they say, well, I'm just not a salesperson. And I said, well, let me ask you this. First of all, are you married or single? And a lot of times they're married, right? And I'll say, well, you did a pretty good job of selling your spouse. See, sales is not what you think it is. Sales is a transference of a belief. And behind that belief is a vibration. So when I'm sharing with this audience right here, which I'm about to talk about who's here, because I can see names but not real clearly, what I'm doing right now is I know I'm connecting with some and I'm repelling others. I know that, and it's okay, because I'm going to connect with people who are wanting to go to a higher level, and I'm going to disconnect with people that say, man, just give me the facts, just give me the real deal, John. That's what I hear sometimes. Well, I remember back in 1992, I was in a stadium. Now, this stadium's not even around anymore. It was the Georgia Dome, okay, in Atlanta. And a gentleman came on stage, and he said something that at the time I was like, what does that really mean? Here's what he said. By the way, if you have not got this yet, you're really missing out on clean water, okay? And any of my new listeners, you may not know what I'm talking about, so reach out to me. But anyways, he said, if the dream is big enough, the facts don't count. So I had to sit there, and I was, I'm a young man at that point, so I'm going, if the dream is big enough, the facts don't count. See, he was talking about calling forth those things, the dream, but as it already here. So what it is in your life that you really want? Are you willing to live a life of desperation, quiet desperation? Because most people do. Are you willing to just go through the next 6 months, 24 months, whatever it's going to take, and then when the thing happens that you feel good about, that's when you're going to be happy? See, happiness is an inside job. And I'm going to recommend a great book. It's called Happy for No Reason. And I believe the author is Marcy Shermoff. I could be wrong on the author, but it's called Happy for No Reason. See, if you have to have something happen on the outside of you for you to be happy, I know, Trump being back in office, that's what most people want, right? And that's what's going to get you happy. No, it's not. Think about this. You buy a new car, you get the new car, it's got the new car smell, and you drive it around the first month, it smells great. But then after a while, that new smell wears off, right? Well, that's because you got used to it. What I believe life is all about is getting up in the morning and just believing that it's going to be a great day. Believing that the people that you're looking to collaborate with are coming into your life. That's what I do every day. I'm one of these guys, and I think what happened to me is being around the people that I hung out with. I mean, if I go all the way back in the military, I used to hang out with leadership. Okay. When I got out of the military, I hung out with dreamers. I hung out with the entrepreneurial people that really wanted to go to a higher level. See, with me, as most of you already know, job for me, it just doesn't work. When somebody said John Ramsey, they said he is psychologically unemployable, and I really am. Before I went in the military, some of you already know this, but I had like 9 or 10 jobs in less than 2 years. Why? Because I can't take direction or order from other people. So if you're stuck, you don't have to be stuck. You know, with what's going on with this craziness that we're living in today, what would you say if I told you that you actually can create your own economy? Because you can. You absolutely can. Now, forget about saying easy. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy, but I'm saying it's very doable. Here we are sitting on October, because let's face it, is it tomorrow? Or no, it's the next day this October. So we're already, in the last aspect of the year? But what would you say if I told you that October, November, December can be the best 3 months of the whole year? You know why I say that? Because I know it's going to be the best 3 months we've had. Even though it hasn't already happened, except it already has in my mind, in my imagination. Well, here's what I want to suggest. And I'm going to start recognizing people here. I see a couple names. There's Kim Arrowwood, Mickey Wagner, Lisa Gardner-Trudeau, I believe it is, Christina Nolasco. And I'm going to call out everybody here in a minute. Tonight at 7 o'clock Eastern time, 6 o'clock if you live in the Central Time Zone, we are going to be doing a presentation tonight that you want to be on. If you don't already, a few of you do. I called up a few of those names. I know you already have the Zoom code. But if you don't have that Zoom code, you want to reach out to me or Antoinette, preferably me. Now you're going to start seeing more Zoom, or not Zooms. You're going to start seeing more live like this from Antoinette, because she's got a message that she wants, and she's bringing it mainly to the ladies, but even some of the guys that will, because you have to expect it. See, do you know why most people have so many bad things happen in their life? They expect it. Think about it. When's the last time that something really, really good happened in your life? How did you respond? Did you go, I can't believe it? Or did you say, well, of course good things happen. I mean, happened to me. Now, see, some people think that's arrogance. No, that's confidence. But it's not confidence in me when I say it, because I say it every day. I say good things are supposed to happen to me. The favor of God surrounds me like a shield. Because that's the truth. Because, see, I don't live in the world system. Let me say this again. I don't live in the world system. The world system wants you to be sad. The world system wants you to be angry. The world system wants you to be, ready to just roll over and give up. But that's not how God created us. God says, do not be conformed, because that's what the world system is. This is all about conformity, what they're doing right now. Conformity is when you basically say, what's the use? No sense of even trying anymore. And a lot of people got that way. Even some patriots have got that way. So, well, what do you do then, John? Well, you hang out with the right people. And I say we, Antoinette and I, we were on a call over the weekend, and it was a great training call. We hang out with some of the best. And there was a young lady on there, and she was talking about why she has done so well in our business. And she said it was the people that she hung out with. And I went, bam, there it is right there. Because you become like the people you hang out with. See, when I was growing up, I love my mom. She's been gone a while now. I'll see her again. But My mom used to say, John, be careful who you hang out with because you're going to become like them. And then later I would hear, if you hang out with dog, you're going to catch fleas, right? Well, it's the same thing. When you hang out with these naysayers, when you hang out with people that are doom and gloom, and I call them energy vampires, man, run away from those bad boys because they're not going to help you at all. Now, I'm not saying, because I know that we are dealing with a really a very evil world right now, but we always have. It's just become more prominent now. So what do you do when you're dealing with that? Well, I can give you the answer right now. You don't talk about it all the time. I guarantee you talk more. Whatever you focus on is going to expand in your life. No doubt whatsoever. So now I'm going to get back to tonight. I have a Zoom code for tonight. It's at 7 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. But that means by the way, I want you guys to know something, because apparently everybody thinks that Florida is Eastern Time. It's not. It's not. Where we're living is Central Time. Okay? So when I say 7 o'clock Eastern, that's 6 o'clock Central. And so whatever time zone you're in, that's when this Zoom presentation, you don't want to miss it though. Because we're going to be sharing, actually it's not us, it's one of our mentors, is going to be sharing information tonight that for the right person. And before I get off here today, I'm going to tell you what that right person is. But before I go there, let me recognize some folks. We've got Mickey Wagner, Ronnie Blakely, as I said. I think Ronnie was on here first. Kim Arrowwood, Christina Nolasco, Timmy Hansen. Let's see, who else we got? Lisa Gardner-Trudeau. Okay, Christina, I haven't seen it yet, but I will look at it. There's Melissa Newsome. Rod Landis is here. Tammy Kearns-Loke. So, yeah, there we go. Yeah, you know who taught me that one, Ronnie? Zig Ziglar. Zig said one night, he was on stage, and he said, sales is the transference of a feeling or a belief. And I went, makes sense to me. Zig was a great man. I mean, if you've never heard Zig Ziglar, you're not going to be able to see him in person right now. But he really was. He was a great mentor for me, and I spent 4 years under him. Let's see who else we got. Katrina Bean. We got Lenny Diano. Diano. There we go. Okay, Ronnie, I'll get you the Zoom code. You did meet Zig. Okay, very good. Yeah, I worked with him from 2001 to 2005. And that really was a huge breakthrough for me. Let me tell you a little bit about breakthrough. I hadn't planned on teaching on breakthrough, but I'm going to share some good stuff about breakthrough. Breakthrough is emotional before it ever becomes physical. Because, and by the way, that's biblical. Because it says, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, right? Well, I got headline news for religious people. The heart is not the blood pump. That is not the heart. I'll teach on that another day. But breakthrough is what occurs when you have a change or a transference, or let's put it this way. Remember how it says, do not be conformed? How about let's be transformed? Well, how do you be transformed? You got to start thinking differently. How are you going to start thinking differently? You start hanging around different types of people. Biblical prosperity is not just money. Money's a part of it, yes. And by the way, for all my religious people that say I talk too much about money, you know that Jesus talked more about money than he did heaven? Did you know that? That's the truth. Look it up if you don't believe me. Look it up if you don't believe me. Okay, so tonight at 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern, I know a few of you already have the code. I'm going to get the code to Ronnie and anybody else that wants it. So that's coming up here. Let's see, it's going on 2 o'clock here in about 4 hours, basically. You want to get on a little bit early, not 30 minutes early, but you want to get on at least 10 or 15 minutes early because it is what we call limited seating. At a certain point, you'll get locked out and there'll be nothing I can do to change that. I will mention one thing, and that is this, because this is the question that I'm getting a lot since we are a new location. Are we still offering, the clean products Absolutely. That's part of the Patriot Business Network, okay? Are they still available for anyone to get? Yes. I highly recommend you get, okay? But the second question that I'm getting is, are you going to go back to doing your Passionate Patriot Monday night Zooms? The answer to that question is very likely, but I don't have a date yet, okay? Don't have a date yet, but that probably will occur in the next few months. We've got some stuff, like we're going to be traveling to Utah coming up, and we're going to be doing a lot of other stuff, and we're doing it for and with the Patriot Business Network because that's really where our focus is. But don't think that I don't focus on what's going on with the situation, because I do. And for those that are, really like heartbroken about what's going on in Arizona or other places, don't be. I'm telling you right now, it's all going to turn out the way we want. Just taking a lot longer than anyone ever expected. So, all right. Well, I thank you guys again. Remember, if you want the, get rid of the stinking thing. If you want the code for tonight, and I highly recommend you do, reach out to me and I'll send it out to you. God bless you. God bless America. We'll talk to you guys later.